I want to take this time to thank everybody who's been with me on my channel. This will potentially be one of the last videos that I make because I'm being evicted. I had set up a court date to go and halt the eviction because I'm going to be working soon. I'm going to be making probably more than anybody else in the neighborhood, but I missed the court date. I know. How could you miss the court date? I missed the court date. Even the property manager didn't understand how I could miss the court. I didn't. She said, I would have come and taken you to court with me. Well, I believe what they're doing is crossing their T's and dotting their I's to make sure everything is above board because I'm black in a white neighborhood, when they evict me. I offered them, I said, I start new job with Amazon on Wednesday. It pays $700 a week. I can literally fork over $700 a week to pay off the debt that I owe you on this mortgage. And she said, I'll check with the owner. But what we really want, because we went to court, we really want the full amount. We're beyond the payment schedule, the payment arrangement. And we went to court. I said, well, I will offer to pay all of that. And Amazon sent me equipment and everything. They've already spent a few $100s already. Amazon. So it is a definitely done deal and all that sort of situation. And for those of you who know me, you say, well, don't you have a rich family? Yes, I have a completely rich family. And when I tried to ask around, I got, why aren't you rich? How are you asking us for money? Now, let me say this. There is a black branch of the family that they go to jail, they're lesbian, and anything you can think of that is completely holy, saved and sanctified and all that sort of stuff. And they give them money. They watch their children for free. They do all sorts of things for them. But I, who have never asked for money, ever, they think I'm lying to them to get them to give me $7,000 because I'm lying. No, I'm serious. They believe I'm kidding around, that I'm joking. And they said, why aren't you rich? I kid you not just one person, several family members. Why aren't you? How are you not rich? This doesn't make sense to us. It's okay, because people online have said the same exact thing. And it's appropriate that I'm making this video now, because it's right in line with I'm about to be homeless. And this is exactly what and what's really funny is I ask people to donate to me, and Google tells me like 70% of you all are actually wealthy. You're old, wealthy, white men. 70%. So, and then I only get the people who are completely broke I'm broke, I can't donate to you. Okay, you didn't even need to say anything. It's the people who are completely silenced who literally, Google's telling me there's a lot of rich people who listen to you or watch your videos. I don't get it. And then other people say, how dare you ask for money? Everybody asks for money. Do you know the CEO? Do you know the CEO of the company that you work for? That is his job description. For 10 hours, he sits on the phone asking people for money. Half of the government does nothing but ask people for money. But when I do it, how dare you ask for money? I don't think you understand how the world works. And I'm telling you, everything that I'm telling you is legitimate. There are women who get online and go, oh, please send me money. I need to go shopping for a Fendi bag. What? And people donate to it. I'm not asking for anything ridiculous. Okay, I thought this topic was interesting. How do you get a medieval disease show up in the United States? How did a medieval disease jump over centuries dormant, centuries invisible, centuries just not there? And then all of a sudden it shows up in the United States. Of all places, the United States, in terms of diseases is concerned, the United States is the cleanest, the most antiviral, antibacterial. I know you're going to say, what are you talking about? We got plenty of viruses and bacteria in the United States. When we compare the United States to the rest of the world, the entire rest of the world, Canada by comparison is dirty. We are on a scale that's so out of the league as far as disease and filth and all that sort of stuff until now. So literally everything that I just said was true until now. Now my question is, how does a medieval disease from 12th century Europe all of a sudden show up in the United States, the cleanest place on the planet? Any of y'all got any ideas? Can I suggest something? It was planted. Where is it showing up? It's showing up in homeless encampments. How on earth would a medieval disease show up in a homeless encampment in an American city, or worse, an American town, village? The reason that we're talking about this right now is because the Supreme Court is now about to hear a case that's going to decide, can you get rid of the homeless in your city? Briefly, the history. In a small town, the homeless shelter closed because they didn't have any money. The 6 gentlemen who had been residing in the homeless shelter were kicked out, and they proceeded to sleep in public, which was against the local ordinances, and so they were fined for sleeping in public. The 6 gentlemen got together and said, no, we're not going to tolerate this. We're going to take this to court. So after 9 years of doing this lawsuit, it finally got to the 9th Circuit Court of Appeals, where my law school teacher is one of the justices. And they decided, they're very liberal. A city cannot, under the 8th Amendment, a city cannot issue out fines and sort of because it's cruel and unusual punishment under the 8th Amendment. Okay, that happened. Then it happened again with somebody else, and that court also decided this is a 8th Amendment case. You cannot give out sanctions against people sleeping in public. That is cruel and unusual punishment. Okay. 35 Republican attorney generals filed an amicus brief in the appeal to overturn the 9th Circuit Court's decision that cities cannot issue fines and regulate homelessness. Gavin Newsom, the super duper leftist crazy Democrat, governor of California, filed an appeal of his own on the second case. The Supreme Court will hear the case, and so they will decide whether or not they're going to side with the homeless people or with the city. Shakaama has a solution for all of this. When politicians come and they want to get your vote, they say stuff like, I care about the safety of the people of this city, so I will do such and so about the homeless people. I care about your safety. The Democrats say, I have compassion for the homeless. Please vote for me. I'm very compassionate. Neither one of them care because nobody has actually presented a solution to the homeless problem. Quickly, what causes people to go homeless? The economy going so high and they don't have enough money. Why don't they have enough money? Because they fire millions of people. Why are they firing millions of people? Because the government has now increased taxes and finagled with taxes to such a degree and say if you have over 5 people, you have to pay for this. Or we don't want black people to work. So we're going to raise the minimum wage. That sounds completely racist of me to say that, doesn't it? No. Here's the reality of the situation. Black people, for the most part, if they're commoners and not aristocrats like me, they go to poorly funded schools. So their level of education is degenerate. When they go out into the world to try and get a job, the job looks at their qualifications and say, you are not qualified. But tell you what, we will give you an entry-level position and you can work your way up. And then you have people like Biden and Obama, and they say, you need to pay everybody $15 an hour. Now Gavin Newsom is going to raise that to $20 an hour. If you raise it to $15 an hour, you as a business person will say, I am only going to keep the people in my company who make the company more than $15 an hour. By definition, the black person at the entry level who has no experience and little to no education, they are going to be the first fired, last hired. I'm giving you the example of black people simply to make it completely crystal clear about how people go homeless. For the most part, black people aren't homeless. For the most part, white people are homeless. I don't know why that works out like that. You don't see Asian people and you don't see a lot of black people. You can see a crazy black person who's homeless, but you will see a regular, normal white guy be homeless. And they have a reputation of, oh, this is happening. Okay, well, guess they're going to be homeless. All right, bye. I know you're going to say, oh, I live in the city. I see plenty of black. You live in a city and you probably have 10 black people and then you saw 6 homeless black. And you don't know that you're seeing only 6 black people. You just notice the 6 black people because black people are noticeable visually. This is why in Shay's Rebellion, they really hated the fact that the white indentured servants were fighting with the black indentured servants. And so after Shay's Rebellion, black slavery really kicked off. No more white indentured servants. We don't know who to fight. Black people are open and obviously black. They have black skin and we can determine that is a black person. Okay. And back in those days, there wasn't that much mixing, so you didn't have half and half black people walking around. They were all my color. People slip into homelessness when the economy tightens. Unfortunately, the black community is comprised of black women who are not loyal to the black community. So you have black women say, I got my own, I got a job. And you don't have a job because you're a black woman. You have a job because you're a woman. And people perceive women to be non-threatening, non-violent, non-this, whatever. Not very competent, but the non-threatening and all that other stuff, that is really high up on the scale. You don't make people a lot of money when you go to work, but you don't cause problems for the most part. That's why you're hired over a black man. At the beginning of the pandemic, when they said essential workers only, they got rid of all of the women. Fired something like 70% of women, period. And they kept the best and brightest men. Didn't matter if they were black, white, Latino, Asian. So you went into stores and there were just men there. And it was run super efficiently. And people actually recognized and people enjoyed it that you only had men, and there was no conflict on the basis of I'm a woman, I need to create drama and conflict, I need to call you out. Although you're a customer, I need to call you out because I'm a woman and I believe that the world revolves around me. There was none of that. The grocery stores were clearing hundreds, thousands of dollars each and every hour. And that's exactly how groceries stores make their money. They have to clear and run through a whole bunch of groceries per hour. They get like pennies on the dollar. Their profit margins are ridiculously low. So they have to, if it's running like a conveyor belt, that's how they make money. When it was all men, it was running like a conveyor belt. When that was over, and Joe Biden said that he got 6 million people jobs. No, that was just the people going back to work. When they usually say, I got this many jobs, it's brand new people going to brand new work, not people who were fired coming back to work. And he knows that. Kareem Jean-Pierre knows that we are in the throes of a recession. They won't call it that. It's leaning towards depression. They won't call it that. When this gas, they don't report gas prices. People are now reporting $7-8 gallon gas. I've seen it recorded. And they made fun of a mistake. There's a viral video on TikTok. They made fun of a mistake that they did. Diesel And I guess it was supposed to be $5, but instead it said something like $4,150. And they said, what is going what is going on? They just made a mistake on the sign. I have a solution for the homeless stuff. Make charitable donations 100% tax deductible. The Democrats, and just the Democrats, not the Republicans, the Democrats have reduced the amount that you can deduct from your taxes by charitable donations from 100% down to something like 15%. I believe that was Obama who reduced. That was one of the first things he did when he got into office. You all love Obama, but one of the first things he did was reduced the tax deduction from charitable donations down to something like 15%. It's crazy. Charities, no matter what you think of charity, and there are some corruption cases involving charities and what have you, even still, bar none, they are much better than the federal government. And speaking of tax deduction, I'm talking about all taxes. I'm talking about federal income tax, state income tax, and some people even have something like city income tax, which is crazy. You do know the taxes that they collect from you, they don't actually pay for anything. Because let me explain to you how taxes work. You think that Dallas, Texas has a Dallas, Texas bank account somewhere. That's what you think, right? It doesn't. Anything that Dallas collects, it goes into a pool. And this is a giant pool, so that the citizens of Dallas are possibly paying for the roads in California. I know that's going to just disgust you, but I'm sorry, that's how it is. The Leave No Child Left Behind started by the federal government, then they pushed it off onto the states. So the states have to pay for it from their taxes, and the federal government withheld any sort of federal funding to the state concerning that program. And the same thing with welfare, same thing with food stamps, same thing with unemployment. Yes, they collect unemployment from you, but on the other side, the employer pays unemployment tax also, and that goes into a pool of taxes. By the way, no tax that they collect from you goes to pay off anything. They simply print money. You understand that, right? Your federal income tax does not go off to pay for federal roads. That's not how it works. They collect something like $1 trillion, $2 trillion, something like that, right? They have to pay out $30 trillion. They take loans of $30 trillion each and every year. This is, I'm talking in total. I don't know if I got the number right, but that's what it is. The GDP does not cover what they take out in loans from the Federal Reserve. They should really abolish taxes in the United States. It doesn't make sense. The system doesn't make sense. The system does not actually pay off taxes. And it's been that way since we went off of the gold standard. The gold standard actually kept in check the Federal Reserve. And the Federal Reserve is a private bank, and they said, hey, tell you what, give us the authority to issue dollars, and you can blame us for everything. Nobody knows us, so the blame won't really fall that hard on us. But that's how we're going to create this system. It used to be that the federal government printed dollars, but they had to back it with gold. When they went off of the gold standard, they didn't have to back it with anything. They can just print as much money as you are not paying off anything. If anything, you're paying off the interest of the interest of the interest. You don't pay off anything. And the taxes that they collect from you doesn't pay off anything. It goes into one giant pool. All of the government people that work for the city, state, county, federal government, they all get paid from the same exact account. And your tax dollars does not go to pave a road at all. That is poofed out of thin air with federal tax dollars. Nothing you do, unless IBM says, I want a paved road here, McPherson and Sons paving, please do this for me, here's the money. Yeah, that is something private money going to do private stuff. But for the most part, when Obama says, you didn't build that, we built that, no, they didn't build it. Obama didn't build it. The federal government didn't. They poofed money out of thin air. And the interest rate is going to be impacting your 4 generations of children, if you have children. The solution is 100% tax deductible charities. That's it. That means that you don't have Sioux Falls homeless shelter going out of business because they don't have funding. It will be one, I scratch your back, you scratch my back. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. One hand washes the other. If you can imagine, I am broke, so I go to food pantry. Where do you get the food? It's done all through charitable donation. It's not reliable. It's not dependable. It's not set aside. It's charitable donation. Sometimes there's no food at all for anybody. If you made charitable donations 100% tax deductible, we could literally eradicate homelessness, because the homeless industry isn't just food, it's shelter, and it's also retraining so that you get the person back injected into society. And hopefully, if you're going to do that, you're also going to open up mental wards, because there's a lot of homeless people who need psychological help. And we're ignoring that. You should send this to one of your mayors or city councilmen or whoever you think should hear this. You should reopen up the psych wards. There's and don't send them to prison, for God's sakes. That's cruel. We're so compassionate. We're the Democrats. We're so compassionate. No, you're not. You're sending crazy homeless people to prison. I've already been told this. Probably half the people in here are mentally insane. Has nothing to do with anything. They're just insane. And they were arrested, tried, found guilty, and sentenced. There was no expert testimony saying that this person is capable of understanding everything. No, there was none of that. They just boom, 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 boom. They're in jail or prison. And a lot of them get let go and they come right back. So 100% tax deductible on charitable donations. Reopen up the psych ward. Homelessness will be over in a year. Thank you all for. Please donate.